Greetings and salutations, my comrades and amigos. Pokemon Master Skywalker here with another video. In today's video, I am joined by Jaxalix.
Hello, in this video we will be discussing all the upcoming changes to the game. So that is in this bulletin here.
Yep, they're coming out like tomorrow, I think.
The day after.
The day after, but it's the 20... Right. American time.
Or whatever country Supercell's in. I think it's Norway.
Norway?
Like I don't know. Anyway, so we're blabbing on a bit. Anyway, so we'll just get some replays going in the background.
Yep.
So... Okay. So the first nerf that is coming up is one that is much needed, and that is the Royal Giant, which is getting a slower hit speed.
Okay.
So I think that would definitely decrease the use rates in the game, as the Royal Giant has become a bit too reliable.
Yeah. See, something I was personally thinking was maybe decreasing its range.
Yeah, so it becomes a very similar range to the Inferno Tower, which is a very popular counter to it.
Yeah. And you know, the trouble I always have using the Inferno Tower to counter it is sometimes I place it too early and it just shoots from outside the target area and it just doesn't counter at all.
Yeah.
Which is rather difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
So the next nerf is the Zap. I have wanted this nerf for a long time, as I think the Zap was way too overpowered.
Yep.
Mainly because of the stun, which, yeah,
it stops it for 1 second, which is like time to get off quite a bit of damage from a crown tower if you're working on attacking, or it can also be effective for like attack, you know, freezing, replacing freeze spell pretty much.
Yeah, and for only 2 elixir, it can counter some very strong cards, such as the Inferno Tower.
Or the Minion Horde.
Depends on... Or the Skeleton Army.
Yeah.
Which leads to some very good elixir profits.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next is the first legendary card we have in this, and that's the Princess. And what they've done to her is they've made her radius for where her arrows land much smaller. So does that mean it can't knock out a Minion Horde anymore? I think it still can, but I'm not sure. I think that would make it a lot less effective against dealing with skeleton-based cards, such as the Skeleton Army, of course.
Yep.
As it won't be able to take all of them out in one anymore. Also, same with the Minion Horde, it won't be able to take them all out. Anyway, the Ice Wizard has also had its hit points decrease, which Supercell has explained that they want him to be a bit less tanky, as he does freeze troops, making him very powerful.
Yeah. So I guess the idea was, instead of using him as a tank, the idea would be to use him as, like, secondary.
Yeah.
A bit more like the Wizard, the fire version, though.
The Wizard and the Witch are very similar to how the Wizard and the Witch are used behind the Giant, or something else of that similarity, I don't know. Anyway, so the next change is the third legendary in a row now, and that is the Miner. And according to this little blurb they've done about it, they actually buffed it by accident. So, and Miner is very overused by people who do have it. As it is a Goblin Barrel that can't be defeated by a spell. So it can take out, you know, that extra 200 damage every time it gets past, whereas the Goblin Barrel can just be stopped with a zap.
Yeah. So I think it's sort of similar to a Knight, I believe, except it's like the Knight version of a Goblin Barrel.
Yeah, and it can be placed anywhere, making the Knight basically useless.
Yeah.
Well, to those who have the Miner. Being legendary, it is quite hard to get. The Baby Dragon is getting its hit speed increased to 1.6 seconds from 1.8, which means it will be attacking a lot faster. I do doubt this will actually increase its usage rates, as it's still that is still quite a slow attack. What do you think? After you bless you.
Okay, sorry. Okay, baby dragon. Okay, I use the baby dragon for my secondary deck. I combine it with the lava hound, so I think it'll just make it a bit more effective in that combination.
Yeah. I feel like the baby dragon at the moment doing only 100 damage and doing only 100 damage and at such a slow speed. All it's got going for it against the bomber is the fact that it is in the air and can attack air.
Yeah.
But the bomber does much more damage at a much faster speed.
So I think that's what they were going for, really, to make it seem more epic compared to a common bomber.
Yeah. Anyway, so next is the Dark Prince, which has a 7.5% damage increase. And this is because it is not quite on par with the Valkyrie, which also deals splash damage and is quite tanky. Anyway, and there are other 4 elixir options which do very similar things.
Such as Hog Rider, charging in sort of thing, used for tanking.
Yeah, and the Mini P.E.K.K.A doing its massive amount of damage it does.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much...
I mean, I've never really used Dark Prince, so I can't really talk too much about it.
Yeah. I got him recently. I've never used him because I looked at his stats and was very sad. The Bowler is a very big rebalance, not really a nerf or a buff, because its elixir cost has been decreased to 5, and as you know, it is currently 6. And its hit points have been decreased by 7%, and its damage has been decreased by 10%. So, what do you think?
I think what's happening with that card is that it's too expensive for what it does. So I think people might like what it does, but they feel it's too expensive, so they don't use it. So this way it still does what it does, which is throwing boulders which do splash damage, but it does it less effectively, but for cheaper, so people are more likely to include it in their deck since it's cheaper.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're almost done. We're up to the Lumberjack now, which speed has been increased to very fast, and to put that in contrast, that's the same speed as a Goblin or a Charging Prince. And its hit speed is increased to 0.7 seconds, which is very fast. However, its damage has been decreased by 23%. This is because lots of players are having trouble differentiating from the Lumberjack from the Mini P.E.K.K.A, as the Lumberjack did a bit less damage at a very similar speed, and all it had going for it was the fact that it dropped Rage. So,
I personally don't have, or have never battled against, the Lumberjack, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'd imagine it could be an effective combo combined with something like Giant Balloon combo.
Yeah, being a legendary unlocked so late game, it's very difficult to level up.
And it's just, in general, hard to get.
Yeah. Anyway, now the Log. The Log is very unpopular at the moment, as it's outclassed by many cards of cheaper elixir cost. Well, one of cheaper elixir cost, such as the Zap. It's also easily outclassed by the Arrows and Poison, and this is mainly because they can hit air. Now, the Log does have knockback going for it, and the different shape of a spell, which is a welcome change. However, it's still not very good at all.
Yeah. I mean, I know that logically you wouldn't think a Log could hit air, but I think if they want it to be used, that's probably a good idea for a buff they could give it.
Anyway, I think the I think we forgot to mention the change. The cast time is decreased by 66%, so that does make it appear a lot quicker. And the travel speed will increase by 20%, making it a lot faster.
I don't know necessarily whether that travel speed is a big advantage. In fact, in some ways, it could sort of be a bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah.
See, what I'm thinking is previously you could place a log, and even though it takes about a couple of seconds to spawn, it can still be used. Like, say they place something else there and then the log hits it, but if the log's going so much faster, then the log will be passed by the time the next thing comes.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have 5 more to go. Now we have the Golem and the Golemites, which both have had their hit and death damage increased, which is good for the Golem, as he is 8 elixir. He does need to be extremely powerful.
Yeah.
So, I don't think people find him on par with the 3 Musketeers, which is a very similar cost, as they're both very expensive. Same with the P.E.K.K.A. But I don't actually have the Golem, so I can't have much of an opinion, so over to you.
I do have the Golem, and I have found it very useful with the fact that it has a death bomb, and then it also leaves behind 2 Golemites. But as you were saying, it's very expensive, and you know, if you want a death bomb, there are cheaper, better options, such as Giant Skeleton or Balloon, because the death bomb isn't that good.
Yeah, being only 184, which is the same amount of damage it does anyway.
Yep.
Well, at level 1.
Yeah. And so, I guess, you know, it's good that they're increasing its attacks and such, but I'm just wondering, maybe they should make it a bit cheaper for more use.
Anyway, so now we have the P.E.K.K.A., which has had its damage increased. In the little blurb it says that it has to, you know, keep on par with the barbarians, as the P.E.K.K.A. Is meant to be able to hit a barbarian, but it actually can't. So they've increased its damage ever so slightly, so it actually is able to. Anyway, I think they can 2-hit a barbarian that's 5 levels above it.
Interesting.
Or less. Now we're up to the Tombstone. The fastest spawner in the game now spawns even faster, with its spawn speed increased to 2.5. This is probably because the Tombstone has such a low use rate, and yeah, I think they want to increase it.
Yeah. I know that in the past you said it's an effective way of stopping the Prince.
Yeah.
But it will probably be even more effective if we can get out a few skeletons before then. Uh-oh. Okay. People are giving me fire spirits.
Good on them.
Ooh, what was the last one I watched? I have no idea. Let's just watch that one.
Anyway, so 2 more to go. Sorry, back on the Tombstone. I think what made it so unpopular is the fact, like, a long time ago, before it was actually available to Australia, it spawned 6 skeletons instead of 4.
Really?
On the death.
Ah.
Which, if they reintroduced that, it would become a whole lot more popular.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But, I mean, that was just too much value for the card, because it only costs about 3, I think.
Yeah. Now onto the archers, which have had a 2% damage increase. This brings them back onto par with the goblins and minions of the same level as it, because I think at level 9 and 13, archers are can only 3-hit goblins and minions, but if at any other level, if they're an equal level, they are able to 2-hit it. So that's
as you can see here, I'm actually using archers in my deck.
Yeah, I think that's the only card change that either of us actually use.
Yeah. I think it's actually a good idea to increase it. Like, it's not a massive increase. I don't think it'll make the card have that much more use or more wide use. but it's like just a bit more balancing for those who do use it.
Yep. Anyway, so the final card is the Prince with a 2 times damage increase.
You said 2 times, but it's just 2%.
Sorry, 2%.
It doesn't do twice as much damage. That would be incredibly overpowered.
Yeah. Anyway, so that very similar reasoning to the P.E.K.K.A. It can now 2-shot them. So I think I actually made a mistake with the P.E.K.K.A. before, but no, never mind. Anyway, so after this, the Clash Royale team signs off, and that is about it.
We didn't really comment much on the Prince.
Well, it can now 2-shot barbs.
Yeah. I think its increase in damage, does that apply to its first hit?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So, that's not a lot, but I know with my third account, yes, I do have 3 accounts. My third account is level 1, and it's in Arena 3 at the moment, I think. And at the moment, the Prince can, if it doesn't get attacked by anything else, it can effectively defeat just 1 level 4 crown tower if the Prince were at level 1. But if it's against level 5 crown tower, it can't defeat it, and it needs to get off 1 more hit. So I'm just wondering if this 2% increase will be enough to defeat that level 5 crown tower in one go.
Yeah. Anyway, so we've droned on for long enough. Thank you for watching, and I'll leave the rest of the outro over to Skywalker.
Yep. Thank you for watching. As always, if you enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.